Everyone, welcome to another episode of the Passive Income and Chill podcast. My name is Nana Alice Nayarko. I'm super excited to have you here. And today I have the amazing Chelsea Guarriello. She is the ultimate queen of dropshipping. And she's going to be teaching us her ways or talking to us about what she does and who she is. So please definitely introduce yourself to our audience.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast and for sharing your audience with me first and foremost. But I am a serial entrepreneur. I'm a mother of two. I'm a fiance. I'm a very busy woman who has really just become addicted to starting businesses. I found that over the past 5 years of being an entrepreneur, the business ventures that I seem to gravitate towards the most are the ones that are more passive, the ones that don't require a whole lot of physical exertion of energy. And things that allow me to wake up to money. So, when I found out about your podcast, I was like, oh yes, all of that, all of that. I'm definitely a fan of a very relaxed lifestyle, but I still also am very serious about my coins. So, I am a digital marketer, and I teach women e-commerce and drop shipping. And what made me so drawn to this business model 5 years ago, being someone who was completely new to entrepreneurship, I was a makeup artist. So I really didn't know much about anything passive. Everything I did to make money required me going and showing up to do a job, to do a
Mhm.
service, not just a job, but to service someone else. And so I just thought that that's how life was supposed to be. You get up, you show up to do a job,
Yeah,
and that you get paid, and that's just
that's what
it,
they
you
teach
know?
us. That's the
Yeah,
model, right?
exactly. Right. Exactly. So here I was, just looking for something new, something that I just knew that there had to be another way. I didn't know. I just moved to LA, right? And that was like the first time that I think I had ever seen people successful, quote unquote successful people, looking people just having so much free time. And I'm
Mhm.
just like, they don't seem to be doing anything illegal. Like that doesn't even seem to be their vibe. But like, how are all these young folks just like out and about hanging out? And that's when I realized that like there was a whole nother world I needed to uncover. Like,
Mhm.
there had to be more to how people were able to pay these expensive LA bills, but yet they were
Yeah.
always at Santa Monica or always riding bike and running with their dogs. Like, how are you not at work right now? How?
What are you doing?
What
I
are
feel
you
the
doing?
same way. I'm in Las Vegas, and when I first moved here, I moved from the DC area, which is very 9 to 5 corporate culture. And when I first moved here, it's also a night shift, a shift city, but also has the same vibe somewhat of LA. And I would just be in the grocery store, and I'd be like, "Well, it's 2 o'clock. I know why I am here,
Right.
but why are all of you here? Like, how is
Exactly.
everybody out?"
Exactly.
You
And I
know?
didn't know, I forgot that you were in Vegas. I'm in Vegas now. I moved from LA to Vegas. I didn't know that. I
Oh,
know we should
oh,
have been doing this in person, girl,
yes.
but
Oh
it's okay.
my
Well,
gosh.
next time
We'll
for
have to
round
do
two.
another one. Okay.
Definitely. But yeah, so when I found out about e-commerce, or no, yeah, so back to the lifestyle. I'm like seeing all these young people. I'm like, there just has to be more. And so that's what really just got me confident enough to really look into it, because for the first time, I think I really put two and two together. Like, no, these young people are doing something. Like, they are generating money to support their lifestyles, and they're doing it in a way that does not revolve around a 9 to 5. And I thought I was being creative, being a celebrity makeup artist. I thought I had discovered a little back door to this
Right.
entrepreneurship. But no, the joke was really on me. I'm not gonna lie, because as much as I loved being a freelancer and like feeling like I was making my own rules and waking up when I want, no, I really wasn't. I was waking up at like 4 or 5 in the morning sometimes to be at set
Mhm.
at 6 a.m. and then be there for 14, 15 hours a day. So like, as
Right.
much as I
You're on the
thought I
client.
was my own boss, I really, yeah, I wasn't. I was definitely very much employed by my whatever client I warmed up to enough to land that gig. And it
Mhm.
just came with a lot. And so I started to really desire that for my life. Like, how can I wake up to some money? Like, how can I find the easier way to do these things? And that's when I've just uncovered a whole bunch of different options that made it possible to make a legit income and make it passive. Like, you don't have to physically show up to make a paycheck. You just have to know the right types of things that you can do to, get your business the brand awareness. Like, so for
Mhm.
me, that was what drew me initially to drop shipping so much, was the fact that I was able to sell products to people all over the world without actually going anywhere. Like, I
Right. So that
literally.
was my next question. How, because you said you've been an entrepreneur now for 5 years, and I've been in the entrepreneur space for some time as well. How did you end up settling into the e-commerce and drop shipping space? How did you get there?
I at the time my resources were low. I knew I had a stable job, but I also knew I was trying to quit that job. Well, as you know, I say that I was the celebrity makeup artist. So I was trying to pivot my career, but I also didn't want to set myself up to start a business that was going to require a whole bunch of money up front, because then that
Mhm.
would just keep me in that career longer. So I just felt like I needed to figure out something that I could start now, where I'm at right now, with very limited resources, that I could still use my makeup gigs to kind of fund here and there, but I
Mhm.
wouldn't be like in debt over my new business now. So for me, that was very important. Like, what are low startup cost business models that I could step into, and still juggle makeup on the side, because I had to pay my bills. And so
Right.
that led me down a rabbit hole of, network marketing, affiliate marketing, just the whole thing. The thing that all of us, I'm sure, have: blogging and
Mhm.
YouTubing,
Mhm.
every option under the sun. And so, being the go-getter I jumped on all of them. I mean, I'm not too good for anything. I just knew I was ready to pivot, knew
Right.
no idea what I wanted to pivot to, but I was very motivated at the time, very, very motivated to figure out what that next option was going to be for me. At the same exact time, my best friend was also coming home from prison.
Mm.
And it just so happened, I'm like, you're at this new part in your life where you're just ready to step into greatness. I'm at this new level of my life where I've accomplished quite a bit as a celebrity makeup artist. I'm very proud of myself, but I'm ready for like that next level. Like, what am I gonna do? And so it kind of was just like divine timing. Like, he came home, I was in LA. I didn't really have many friends. I was new to LA still. So it was just like match made in heaven, and perfect timing, because both of us were ready for new. So
Mhm.
he knew I was a makeup artist, and every day I'm just like, we decided we were gonna be together from the day he came home from prison.
Oh, that's
So
wonderful.
from from that day forward, we were just together, inseparable, going, applying, looking for work for him, like, so he could do what he needed to do. And that's when we realized very quickly that, like, what was just like kind of in the back of my mind is like, I want to look for other options, became very real. Like, whoa, 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 like, we got to figure something out. Either you got to go all in with makeup and like
Mhm.
go crazy, networking, going to events. Like, you need to grow your clientele even more and go all the way in with that. Or, because it was just proving very difficult for him to land a job. And it was
Right.
unexpected. I didn't expect any of this. I only knew him to get money, like back at
Mhm.
home, like before he got locked up. So I wasn't even really thinking like, wait, we got to rebuild from, like, I wasn't really thinking, or
Yeah.
I didn't think I was stable. I'm just like, come on, come, don't worry
Like,
about
it'll
it.
be kind of back to
Yeah,
where you
we'll just
were before, right?
exactly. We'll just get you on the right path. Like, it'll be so easy. We'll go apply, get some jobs, and just grind and make money and figure it out. And it just wasn't like that. The bills were piling up. Nobody was really interested in hiring, giving him an opportunity. And he also wasn't the job type either.
Right.
And granted, I just wanted him to go legit and do the right thing. But he had never had a 9 to 5 before. So he was just like, used to making all this money illegally. And now
Mhm.
I'm trying to, the system, we're trying to convince him he has to go to a 9 to 5 that's going to give him way less money than he's ever made
Right.
before. And so I
And
just
working
knew that
in
this formula
worse
was just not going
conditions,
to
right?
work.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm like, this is just pretty much I either have to settle that I just dedicated my life to being with you and we are just going to be super freaking average forever and just love each other through it, or together we're really going to have to turn lemons into lemonade and use the next 5 years extremely wisely, because for 5 years he was on probation. And so I'm like,
Mm.
you know, this is a lot of sacrificing on my part. This is a lot of sacrificing on my part. We can't travel, we can't do anything that I'm used to doing, but I was on this mission to get rich. I'm not gonna lie. I was on this mission to turn my life around and to stop with the hustle and bustle. Like I was tired. You know what I mean? Like I didn't have kids yet.
I have to say, your story, I think, is so important because for a lot of our people in our community, that is part of the issue, right? Is that they have experiences and a history that in this country puts them in a certain category that makes
Category.
it very difficult for them to make it in the system that we currently have set up here in the United
Yes.
States. And so even when people are trying to go, down the right path, the system makes it very difficult for them. So these type of opportunities, e-commerce and these opportunities, or online courses, which is what I do, and I've done Airbnb and all that stuff, they have a less of a barrier to entry than like your regular 9 to 5, right? You don't have to have all these accolades or have to have this perfect history in order to make money. So I just wanted to say that, especially for people who are listening and find themselves in similar situations,
Discouraged.
right, and are discouraged, exactly, that these opportunities are out here for you. You don't have to go down the
Exactly.
path, right, that they've taught us.
And that's exactly what made me get into teaching and digital marketing myself, creating courses myself, was that reality. It's like, you know, the system is set up for you to fail and go right back to where you came, you know, from prison. And it's set up that way. So if you don't feel support or feel like you have these resources, that's just what you're going to gravitate towards, especially once the bills start piling up, especially if you don't have a good, solid relationship. Most felons are not coming home to full blown relationships the way we did. Like that was just by accident, you know? But thank
Mhm.
God, I feel like, because it kept him super structured and grounded and like very on a strict path, because I knew where I was going regardless, you know? So I, it was a crazy time, definitely, but I know that they made it very, very hard and discouraging, you know, with the probation officer constantly coming to the house for, you know, drug test, this and that, and
Mhm.
just like all the like innuendos of threats, kind of like you're just so
Right.
scared to even get stopped at a traffic light. Like I remember one time, like it's just like any incident you have to report, and it's just like no way to live, you know. And I just
Mhm.
remember thinking like, once I figure this out, like I really want to help other people in our situation, because there's a lot of good women that get caught. And I mean, I'm not one to like condone the whole like girl being with a fella, all that stuff. Like that's not what I'm all about. But I'm just saying sometimes like, you know, you feel really desperate for an
Mhm.
opportunity, whether it's because of your mistakes or a loved one's mistakes, or just because life, maybe somebody died in
Right.
your family, leaving you responsible for your siblings, and you don't know how to manage, you know, so you feel obligated to do what you have to do to make ends meet. And sometimes that really, like you said, it lands people dead behind bars. And so I just knew that that is my community. That is what I come from as well. And so when I realized that I had discovered this whole new like world of
Right.
opportunity that did
Right.
not revolve around me doing a job for someone else, I just felt like, oh my God. I really felt like, God, you just put me on. Like,
Mhm.
this
It's a
is how
game
they do
changer.
it. I just figured it out. Like, I'm gonna be on every beach, on every yacht. Like, I will never have another job. Like, I literally remember being like, there's no way. Like,
Yeah.
you know how you just get put onto like real gems in life? Like, I just got put onto another one like last week, and I was just like boohoo crying, like, how am I 34 years old? And like, I just did not know about this. And it's a
And
game
that's the
changer.
thing. There are so many, I feel like so many avenues of business that we just don't know, right? And so you have to, for all of those listening, for myself, you have to take it upon yourself to really do that research. And I like what you said earlier. that you tried all the different things, right?
Oh yeah.
Because you don't know what's going to be that spark for you. And a lot of times people give up because maybe that first thing they tried didn't work, or
Oh
that
yeah.
second thing they tried didn't work. You have to keep going, right?
You got to keep going. You got to get used to it. I'm addicted to trying new things. That's my problem. Like, I want to try it all, and I'm going to. It's just I get frustrated that there's not enough time in a day. Like, I'm gonna try to squeeze out every hour. My team, they be like, "Girl, you not tired?" I'm like, "What you mean? Like, we have more things to do." Like, it's never ending. It's literally
Yeah.
never ending. I want to try everything. Like, even now, I just, now I'm smarter. Now I just get mentors for everything. So it's like I'm
Mhm.
trying and I'm learning, but it doesn't look how it used to look. Before
Right.
it
It's
used to
not
just look a hot
granted.
ass mess.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like trying everything blindly, confused, experimenting, just throwing things. Oh, what do you do? A little everything, wholesaling. It's just like, what do you mean? What do you mean? What do I do?
Right.
Now it's like I just know to go straight for the people who are successfully doing it and figure out, like, what do you have in place? How are you doing this? Where did
Hmm.
you start? How should I start? What would you have done differently? You know what I mean? Like, now I know how to move, and that's
Yeah.
how I'm able to juggle 9 streams of income. Um, because one, most of them are more passive at this point. I've created teams around the systems that I've been implementing over a 5-year period so that things can operate without my attention 24/7.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that's been the biggest blessing, because coming from being a makeup artist, you're used to doing everything yourself, like, or having a job, you show up for the job, you do the job. Like, you're not used to team building, you're not used to delegating and having the responsibility and then telling someone else what to do. That's a whole nother side of
Yeah, that's a whole
entrepreneurship.
nother skill, and that is a challenge for a lot of people, myself
Oh,
included
it for
sometimes. Like,
myself,
especially
I'm
if you're used to just doing it yourself, learning to
so
delegate is like a whole nother step and a whole nother level that literally you have to learn. Like,
you have to. And it's the
mhm,
best. It's the hardest lessons I've learned, but it's also the most important lessons that I've learned. Delegating, it's something that sometimes people try to rush into way before they're ready to, and that, there's just so much can go south with this process.
mhm,
And that's why my number one tip when it does come to automations and just passive anything is really understanding what it is that you're doing and what you're trying to accomplish before you trust someone else with a certain role or responsibility for your business. Because if you don't even fully understand what goes into that responsibility, that task, that role, they could take you for a ride and you just wouldn't
mhm.
even know.
You
And
know
so many
it.
people kind of come to me with that, and they'll be like, last month I invested $30,000 in a automation. In Amazon automation store. And I'm just like, okay, have you ever done Amazon before? No. Okay, have you ever done anything automations before? No. That's why I did it, because they told me it
So
was
how would
done
you
for
know it
you.
worked, right?
I
How do
said,
you
so
know
they
it
told you it
worked?
was done for you and that it was just going to produce money on demand, like an ATM machine. Within 6 months, you were just going to have a 6-figure income on autopilot. And that didn't sound suspicious to you at all. Like, 30,000. I mean, the only thing that sounds maybe legit about selling a dream like that is maybe the price tag. Maybe 30,000, it sounds
Would
realistic.
would
Like, oh,
be
how
like,
much? To
okay.
wake up to 6 figures? I mean, I guess so. That doesn't
Right.
seem like it would cost about that. So I think that's how so many people are actually biting the bullet with these concepts. And I feel like a lot of new entrepreneurs these days are really hanging on to that that tagline, that
Mhm.
clickbait, of
Right,
like,
right.
yeah, every DIY or done for you services, and automations, and we'll do it all. We'll do it all. Yeah, it sounds really great to the average person who feels they're too busy to start a business, but in all reality, like any business worth starting, like, it does take that focus. It does have to become your baby, at least for like 6 months. Give it a little bit of effort to really
Yeah.
understand.
So
It should be
I
something.
often talk about getting active to get passive, right? People who've heard this podcast have probably heard me say that before. So what you're saying, I feel like, is exactly that, right? Where you still have to do that upfront work. And the amount of time the upfront work is going to take is dependent on the type of business and the type of person, right? And And like you said, if you invest in mentors, coaches, or whatever, or even reading, right, to give you yourself that shortcut and that path, but you do have to put in the work. So for someone who's interested in getting into e-commerce or drop shipping, like what are some of those initial don't worry about it. What are some of
We're
those
not in the
initial
car.
some of those initial things that or action steps you would say they should start with?
So if you're going to get into e-commerce, you said into drop
Mm-hmm.
shipping. Okay,
Yeah.
so I feel like my recommendation, first of all, because I think drop shipping is like a hidden gem. Most people I've uncovered don't even understand what drop shipping really is. So I don't think people are trying to get into drop shipping. People are trying to get into business, and they're trying to get into maybe e-commerce sometimes, maybe starting a boutique. They like the idea of seeing like a brick and mortar with their brand name on it and things like that. And so a lot of times those people are the ones that end up becoming my students because they don't
Mm-hmm.
even know that there is another way. They
Right.
think, oh, like I see this Fashion Nova right here. It's making so much money. Everybody knows them. They're a household name. I want to be a Fashion Nova too. So they immediately start factoring in all the expenses. Now I need to be at the mall. That's 4,000 for the rent. That's,
Mm-hmm.
I got to get clothes. That's another 5,000 worth of inventory. What kind of clothes do I buy? All of these things. Now I need a photo shoot. I need models. I need employees. Okay, now I need $30,000, and I'm just gonna go back home and go back to work because I don't
Right.
have $30,000, right? So those are the people who end up being my students because when I come in contact with them, I'm like, oh, hold on. Fashion Nova, Forever 21, they all got their start a very similar way. And it's through, yes, e-commerce. They still sold their products on the internet and wherever else, but they started off drop shipping, which means that they never had to fulfill their own order. And when you don't have to ship your own products, when you don't have to house the inventory, when you don't have to actually physically handle your merchandise, that
Right.
gives you all the freedom and flexibility that you need to be able to live and structure your day the way that you want. Because even though I'm in this car right now, or even though we're here, there, traveling, whatever, our online store is not a brick and mortar. So we don't have structured hours. We are on the internet. And when you're on the internet, it's 24/7. People can shop from us 24/7. And so a lot of business owners, they give themselves store hours and things like that. But when I realized, like, wait a minute, on the internet, there's people in certain parts of the world that are not sleeping when I'm sleeping. So if
Right.
I still have these products, these amazing products for sale, why do I only want people to know about them when I'm talking about them when I'm awake? Like,
Right.
I want you to know about my line, my whatever, my products. I want you to know about them and be buying them no matter where I'm at, what I'm doing, who I'm with, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
that's when I realized the power of paid advertisements. And that's why I'm like, once we leveraged paid advertisements and we started to see the visibility we were getting on a worldwide basis, whether we
Mm-hmm.
were sleeping or awake, we're like, wow, this is what it takes. Like, you have
Yeah.
to get your business the exposure that it needs for you to become successful on a bigger level, right? A lot of people think really, really small. So my mission is to contact women and in touch, get in front of them before they make the mistake of getting into a business model that they think is the step one, when really the brick and mortar and like the inventory, that's like step two, step three, step four. There's a
Mm-hmm.
step before all of that
Right.
requires a very little commitment. Hate to say it because I still want my students to come in ready and hungry and aggressively trying to get it, but like compared to what you have to do for the other business model of like there's like such little skin in the game required over here, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
you can start today, find a product, put it on your website, and start selling it today. Money in the bank, literally today. That's why I try to work with people who are like motivated to like really get results and get action, like take action, because it's not a hard business model. It's something the quicker you jump in and start understanding how it works, the
Mm-hmm.
sooner more doors open up for you. And this is how we've been able to generate over $500,000 in the 3.5 year period that we were able to do it
And
in.
again, I see that.
Yes. And then, so to answer your question though, if anybody, so I don't think people are really searching drop shipping. I think people are thinking, oh my God, I would love a clothing line. I would love to sell that. I would love my own shop. But think about all the expenses and the risks involved with that. So my advice would be start with drop shipping. I'm gonna teach you skills as a drop shipper that is gonna make it possible for when you're ready to scale and open up your brick and mortar. You're gonna have so much money coming in from the online business that could pay your rent for your brick and mortar. But you don't
Mhm.
want to start as a brand new entrepreneur just with all these expenses before you've even made any money with your idea. So that my advice would be for sure to start off baby steps with drop shipping. Get your
Mhm.
proof of concept that you can sell that product and that's a hot product for you, and then say, hey, now I want to order 10,000 of them. Now I'm going to put my name on it, my label. I'm going to get this little shop, and I'm going to open up my own stand. But before that, it's just so risky to do that. So
Yes, dropping
yeah.
gems. I love it.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank
So
you.
if people are interested in learning, with you and how to actually get into drop shipping and e-commerce and learning those action steps, like how can they do that?
Okay, so I would love to invite everybody to a training where they can watch. It's not a live training, so you can watch it at any point in time. If you DM me the word drop shipping, I can send you the link to it. And it's basically going to give you a visual representation of the business model, the drop shipping business model, how it works and how it's so lucrative. And then it'll explain more about my mentorship program, which I'm currently enrolling for. It's called Online Business Mastery. We launched May 10th. The reason I wanted to launch this program is because after dropshipping for so long and realizing what made me a successful dropshipper was the marketing tools and the marketing strategies that I mastered as a dropshipper. Once I realized that those same strategies are universally used amongst other businesses and industries as well, that's when I took my life to the next level. That's when I was able to scale and launch more businesses, you know, generate more income by having more streams of income. It's all because I used the same blueprint that I mastered as a drop shipper and I applied it to my digital products, my courses, my ebooks, my journals, my this, my that. It works for
Mhm.
everything.
Yes.
And so that's how we've now been able to make millions of dollars. So once I realized like how powerful that was, I was like, wait, I have to do this drop shipping course over because the focus should not even be drop shipping. The
Mhm.
focus is that I'm teaching you how to literally drive loads and loads of traffic on all social media platforms to whatever offer it is that you have, whether it's a physical product that you are fulfilling out of your home or whether it's a digital product or a drop shipping product. It's all essentially the same. And a lot of people are just struggling with making sales and struggling
Mhm.
with driving traffic. So my goal is to help people understand that you can leverage social media. We're on it hours and hours a day anyway, to drive free traffic as well as paying for the traffic as well, so that
Mhm.
your brands could get the exposures that they deserve. So Online Business Mastery is what we're currently enrolling for. Spots are filling up quickly because it's such a comprehensive program and mentorship. But I work with you over an 8-week period to every step of the way, like finding your product, talking to your suppliers, really just nailing down what your niche should be, and then teaching you how to scale your products with social media on Pinterest, TikTok, Google, Facebook, Instagram. We're everywhere. I'm teaching my students how to be everywhere, so that money could just come in from all directions, you know?
Who doesn't like money coming in from all directions,
Hello.
right?
Exactly.
All right, so I
Exactly.
will definitely share those links as well in the show notes
Yes.
and in the descriptions down below as well. So I want to make
And
sure
I just
people get in touch with
one
you.
thing, I'm so sorry. I want to give your members, I want to know, like, who specifically coming from you. So I want to tell everyone to go ahead and text me. I'm going to throw in a special offer for your listeners, if that's okay with you.
Of course, I would love
Yes.
to hear more
Okay.
listeners. Yes.
Yes. So if you text the word passive income, right? If you text passive income to this phone number, 323-618-6585,
Okay.
then I'm going to bless all of your listeners, anyone who enrolls into my program, if they decide to enroll into Online Business Mastery, okay, it's a $5,000 program, but it's currently on sale for $3,500. We have payment plans and financing, all that stuff. But the reason I want to give them this gift is because normally something that trips a lot of people up about starting an online business is they get nervous about the tech part, like, oh my God,
Mhm.
I don't know how to do that. I didn't either, but it was a big mental like block that I had to get over.
Right.
I teach my students how to build the store out. I've been doing it for years. I have a team now that does it. And so it is a simple process, but it is a tedious one for someone who doesn't have that experience. So what I've done is for people who pay in full for my program, I give them access to my developer who they can hire for a discounted rate of $200. I'm going to waive that $200 and I'm going to pay it out of my pocket. So for the first 5 people, if you have 5 listeners who decide that they want to join Online Business Mastery and pay in full, I will pay for your store to get built for you. So you would come in, get the mentorship, lifetime access. You'll learn how to make 6 figures in 6 months with this business model. And I'm going to pay my developer to get you up and running with your first Shopify store. He'll customize it and put whatever products you tell him onto your store for you for free. So that helps,
Wow.
that saves a lot of time because now you're like, you can launch and start making
Yeah.
money. So yeah. So if you just text passive income, I'll know that they came from you. And if they enroll, they could just let me know, hey, I enrolled. I'm from Nana's podcast, Passive Income. And I will tell my team that we will go ahead and build out the store for free.
Amazing. That is such a blessing, guys. Like, you don't even understand. I know from being a serial entrepreneur as well, tech is what stops a lot of people in their tracks. Like, you can
Yes,
have all the intelligence in the world, but that technology, when it gets a hold of you, ooh. So thank you
it
so
could be
much. I will
scary.
I will include the text number as well so people
Okay.
can text you. And the word to text is passive income, right?
Yes, ma'am. Passive
Okay.
income.
Well, I won't hold you too long. The last thing I just want to ask you, I love to ask all of my guests, is what is a book that you would recommend, if any, to our audience?
Oh my gosh, there's a lot. Let me see what's in my Rich Dad Poor Dad for sure.
Mm-hmm. That's
Um,
always a good one.
oh, I know you know a whole bunch. The Four Agreements for sure.
Yes.
Hold on, what's the one? I Mindset by Carol Dweck is a great one.
Oh,
Um, let's see. I'm looking in my Audible because I'm more of an Audible person.
mm-hmm.
Um, I like The Magic of Believing. That's a good one. The 4 Hour Work Week is a great one.
The 4 Hour Work Week messed me up. Like, I read that maybe 10, 15 years ago, and I was like, F this work stuff. Like,
Oh, and 12 months to 1 million.
oh, okay. Those are, first of all, you
Yeah.
gave us a lot of good ones. I love
Yeah,
that. I
those are
love
really
that.
good. Those are really good. I give my students a reading list too, so those are some that's included on that. But yeah, I would love, I definitely I hope to be able to connect and work with some of your listeners. I'm sure they're a bunch of ambitious, super ambitious people. And yeah, I would love to be able to connect with some of them and teach them this amazing world of e-commerce and drop shipping. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing so much of your story and what it is that you do. We really do appreciate it. So, guys, check the show notes for all this information and be sure people can find you where on Instagram.
Yes, thanks for asking. It's Learn with Chelsea on Instagram, Learn with Chelsea. And I also have a backup page. It's Learn with Chelsea Backup. Those are the only 2 pages.
Good. I'm
Yeah.
glad you said that because those scammers are out there.
Oh,
So,
I'm saying it because
um,
guaranteed you're going to get about 50 people that say that no, it's just those 2.
okay, perfect. Thank you so much. And guys, thank you for listening to the Passive Income and Chill podcast. And we will see you next time. All right. Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you so much.